Have you ever wondered why, of all the milk on Earth, humans only ever chose to drink from a handful of gentle, grass-eating animals? Cows, goats, sheep, never lions, never wolves, never bears. It seems like an odd coincidence until you realize it isn't a coincidence at all. It's biology quietly protecting you from something far stranger than you'd expect. Milk feels like the simplest food in nature, white, warm, nourishing, but underneath that simplicity is one of the most specialized substances any animal produces. Every species designs its milk for one purpose only: to build its own offspring as fast as possible in whatever environment that species survives in. And when the species doing the designing is a predator, the recipe changes completely. Start with a mother lion. Her cub is born blind, nearly helpless, and needs to grow into a hunter within months. To make that happen, lion milk is loaded with fat and protein at levels that would stagger a human nutritionist. Some carnivore milks carry 2, 3, even 4 times the fat content of cow's milk. That's not a flaw, that's the entire point. A predator's body needs to build muscle, brain tissue, and hunting reflexes on a brutally tight timeline, and rich milk is the fuel for that sprint. But here's where the story turns. That same richness that saves a lion cub could put a human body under real strain. Our digestive systems didn't evolve around a diet of concentrated animal fat in liquid form. Drink milk built for a predator, and you're not nourishing yourself the way you would with cow's milk. You're forcing your gut to process something closer to liquid butter. And fat is only the beginning of the problem. Every mammal's milk contains a sugar called lactose, and lactose is where the real mystery hides. To digest it, your body needs an enzyme called lactase. Humans are born making plenty of it because every infant, no matter the species, starts life drinking milk. But something curious happens as we grow. In most mammals, lactase production shuts down after weaning. The body assumes milk is over, done, a phase of infancy, never to return. For most of human history, that was true for us too. Then, roughly 7 to 10,000 years ago, something changed. Certain human populations began herding animals, cattle, goats, sheep, and drinking their milk into adulthood. A rare genetic mutation appeared, one that kept the lactase genes switched on for life. And because that mutation offered a massive survival advantage, an extra, reliable source of calories in times when food could vanish overnight, it spread. Fast. In evolutionary terms, almost impossibly fast. But notice what that mutation was built around. It wasn't a general upgrade that let humans drink any milk from any species. It was narrowly shaped by thousands of years of living alongside specific domesticated herbivores. Our bodies adapted to cow's milk and goat's milk because those were the animals standing in our fields, not because evolution was preparing us for something else entirely. So what happens when you take that finely tuned system and point it somewhere it was never meant to go? Predator milk isn't just richer in fat. Its composition is different in almost every dimension. Some carnivore species produce milk with lactose levels far lower than a cow's because their young don't need much sugar. They need explosive growth from protein and fat instead. Give that milk to a human body expecting the balance of a dairy cow, and the mismatch shows up almost immediately. Bloating, digestive distress, a system straining to process something it has no evolutionary memory of handling. And then there's a question even stranger than digestion. Is it safe at all? Predators sit at the top of the food chain, which means anything harmful in their environment, toxins, heavy metals, pathogens, has a way of concentrating as it moves upward. Prey to predator, generation to generation. Scientists call this biomagnification. It's part of why we're cautious about eating too much shark or swordfish. The same caution applies, perhaps even more so, to drinking the milk of something that hunts for a living. It isn't just a different recipe, it can be a different risk profile entirely. There's also a piece of this story that has nothing to do with chemistry and everything to do with distance. Try to imagine actually collecting milk from a predator, not from a docile cow standing patiently in a barn, but from an animal engineered by millions of years of evolution to view you as either a threat or, worse, prey. Domestication itself only works with animals willing to tolerate human presence. Animals whose temperament allows for repeated, close contact. Predators were never candidates. Every early human who might have tried simply didn't survive long enough to pass on the habit. So the absence of predator milk in the human diet isn't one story. It's 3, all pointing the same direction. Biochemically, it's often too rich and imbalanced for a digestive system tuned to herbivore milk. Toxicologically, it can carry concentrated risks that build up the further along the food chain you travel. And practically no human ever lived long enough near a hungry predator to make milking one a habit worth keeping. But maybe the most interesting part of this isn't why we avoid predator milk, it's what the question reveals about milk itself. We tend to think of it as one universal substance, a single, simple food. It isn't. It's a language, and every species writes its own dialect, shaped by how fast its young must grow, how dangerous its world is, and what kind of body it's building. Cow's milk speaks the dialect of a slow-growing grazer. Human breast milk speaks the dialect of a huge, slow-developing brain. And a lion's milk speaks the dialect of an animal that must be ready to hunt almost as soon as it can stand. We didn't avoid predator milk by accident. We avoided it because 10,000 years of careful, quiet coevolution wrote our bodies a very specific set of instructions. Instructions meant for animals that graze, not animals that stalk. And somewhere in that difference is a reminder that every glass of milk we drink without a second thought carries an ancient negotiation inside it, one between two species, written in fat, sugar, and trust long before either one knew the other's name.